Good morning, everyone. My name is Janet Majors. I'm the producer of Wise Women podcast, and today I am over the moon to have Esther Wojcicki. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Good. With us today. Um, she is oftentimes known as the godmother of Silicon Valley, but quite frankly, in my book, I call her OG, and I mean that with the highest of regard, because Esther's career is a walk in the history of Silicon Valley, and and it's just phenomenal. And I'm going to do a quick read through, so hold on because this is big. All right. So right now, Esther's the really known as an educator, founder, and consultant and speaker with a long history in e-learning. She's the founder of the Trick, TRICK method, and the Trick app on Apple and Android. She is also the chief education advisor for NAC. She is the advisor on Edge, or the company called The Edge, and her consulting career, oh my God, it's like the who's who of Silicon Valley. That includes HP, the US Department of Education, Google, Carnegie Foundation, Stanford. The list goes on. But I suspect, Esther, probably one of your favorite positions was when you were a teacher at Palo Alto High School and you got to start, you became the founder of the Media Arts Lab. So let's start there. What made you decide to become a teacher?
Well, actually, it's an interesting story how I decided to become a teacher. I actually have a master's in journalism from Graduate School of Journalism at Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really excited about that. I had actually worked in journalism prior to getting the master's degree. And I thought, well, if I get a master's degree, that's really going to give me a step up, an edge. This was actually in the beginning of the 1970s. And little did I know that it was okay for me to work for really small newspapers. I worked for the Berkeley Daily Gazette for a while, and then I worked for another newspaper in Los Angeles that was a small newspaper. But then when I tried to get a job working for the San Francisco Chronicle, I realized it was impossible. And the reason it was impossible is because women were banned from the press club in San Francisco. They were actually banned in all the press clubs all over the United States. It was called a man's profession. Women were not allowed to enter. The only way that you could be a journalist in that case was you could write for something called the women's section. So the newspaper used to be divided into news, opinion,
Mm-hmm.
sports, and women's.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember
I,
that.
I'm sure you remember that. And I did not want to be stuck writing about food and recipes and how to take care of your husband and your children. I wanted to write news. And so I
Mm-hmm.
got really upset and frustrated because I couldn't get a job. So I decided, well, if I cannot be a journalist like I want to be, I'll teach journalism and I'll help all those other kids get into the press club and be good journalists. And that's how I started at Palo Alto High School. And I started there with a very tiny 19 student program in
Mm-hmm.
1984. And actually, what was interesting is that after about 2 months in the program, following the instructions that they told me to do, which was have the kids read this book called Press Time and then have them answer the questions at the end of the chapter. I realized that after doing that for 6 months, they weren't going to learn anything, nothing. So I put the book back in the book room and I just developed my own program, which meant reading real newspapers and then
Mm-hmm.
understanding how they were written. And so then I ended up teaching the kids how to be journalists, really journalists, not just pretend journalists. And the program grew. It grew from those 20 kids in the first year to 40 in the second year. And every
Mm-hmm.
year after that, it kept growing. until 1998, when there were 100 kids in the program.
Oh
At
my
that
god.
point, I was like, oh my God, this is one teacher and 100 kids. This is crazy. At which point, the school district decided that it was okay for me to hire another teacher. So
Well,
that's what
thank
I
God.
know. It was crazy. And so after I hired this other teacher, Paul Candell, who is actually amazing, and I got him from Lowell High School in San Francisco. He helped me build the program to what it is today. And in the year 2012, the school district said, this is the fastest growing program in the district, and we have hundreds of kids in the program. We're going to build a building for you. It's like, really?
Oh, wow.
And so they built a 25,000 square foot building on the Palo Alto High School campus that houses what is called the Media Arts Program at Palo Alto High School. And today there's about 700 kids taking journalism every year. And we have about 8 electives: newspaper, magazine journalism, podcasting, television, movie
Mhm,
making. We do it all. We try to make the kids happy, and we try to make sure that they learn how to do whatever it is that we're teaching. And so it's all peer to peer, project based, and
mhm.
it's it's a force in the neighborhood, actually, because the kids are very smart, empowered, happy, and they carry those skills for life.
Well, I suspect that's one of the many skills that you taught them because, um, your book on how to raise successful children, I bought that book at ASU this spring, and I didn't put it down. I mean, I stayed up all night reading it, and thank God it was the last day of the thing of the summit, because by the time, I finished the day and I was flying home, I was like, "I need to get some sleep." But my brain was going crazy in a good way of, "This is this this trick concept is so sim it sounds simple, but it is so collectively, the skills that you're teaching are so powerful. Can you for those that aren't familiar with trick, can you explain it?
Sure. Well, TRIC stands for something that I used in my parenting with my own 3 children, and that I used in my classroom with the hundreds of kids. And
Mhm,
it stands for trust, respect, independence, collaboration, and kindness. And my theory was you trust your students or your children as much as is appropriate. You give them as much respect as possible. That means you listen to their ideas. That
mhm,
doesn't mean necessarily that you do it, but you listen and you discuss it. You give them a lot of independence. You collaborate instead of dictating, and you always treat them with kindness. And I'll tell you, it works like a charm, especially as a parent with parenting ideas, and it works really well in the classroom. Part of the reason that I taught for 40 years was because I always had a good time. It was always fun for me to be there in the
yeah.
classroom, and I loved it. And the only time I left in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. Actually, I taught for 6 months of the pandemic, and then I realized that perhaps I should do something else, that this pandemic thing was not a great experience. And so that's why I retired from teaching, but didn't really retire. I just moved over. I was teaching at Stanford and writing more books and articles and speaking, and I'm trying to help students and parents and teachers everywhere.
Your work is mind-blowing, and I mean that in a good way. I was lucky enough to learn resilience at the age of 19 when my crew coach told me an ankle injury that I had sustained was going to kill my um, aspirations for competing in the Olympics. And I remember him saying, "You have two choices in this moment. You can let it beat you, or you can figure out a workaround." I did not understand that at the moment he was telling me because
Uh-huh.
I was busy just like crying, but
Yeah.
to be able to learn that skill has gotten me through some of the most challenging times in my life. And you also speak about parents not needing to helicopter their kids. I'd love for you to go into that a little bit more because it's one thing to teach the skills, but it's another thing to kind of tell a parent, "Hey, step back a little. Let them breathe."
I think that is probably one of the most important things that we can do today in our country because we have a generation of helicopter parents, maybe two
Mhm.
generations.
Mhm.
And you just remember one sentence from this entire interview. You have to remember that the more you do for your kids, the less empowered they are. It just makes sense. You know, if you tell a child how to swim, but don't let them swim, they'll never learn how
Mhm.
to do it. And you cannot keep doing things for your children. You think you're helping them, but in fact, you're disempowering them. They don't know how to make their own bed. They don't know how to fry an egg. They don't know how to make dessert. They don't know how to call in. They don't know how to plan a vacation. They don't know how to do the laundry. I mean, it is crazy. The parents do everything for the child. And not only that, they plan all the activities that the child's going to have. So you don't even
Mhm.
have any agency to do it yourself. And when you reach 18, I'm sorry to say, these kids are distressed. So we have a generation of college students. 54% of college students are clinically depressed. They feel anxious, they feel suicidal, they've got eating disorders,
Mhm.
they're taking a lot of medications where
Mhm.
pharmaceutical companies are unfortunately solving the problem with pills, and that just creates more and more problems for them. So then they grow up to be adults that feel, unhappy and not sure about what to do, and I can't get a job, and now if you can't get a job, you can't exactly call your mom and dad, and it's like, "Hey, I can't get a job. Can you help me get one?" That is not something that is real. It's not realistic. And so, what you want to do is start your children early with the idea that they can do whatever they need to do. They can play by themselves, they can arrange their play dates, they can pick what activities they want to do. You can suggest it, you can have a conversation with them, just like you have a conversation with other people. Just because they're
Mhm.
small doesn't mean you can't talk to them. And so, it's
I'm
important to
laughing with
remember.
you, not at you on that statement.
That's right. It's just so, your kids want to be treated with respect. Even little kids want to be treated with respect. Just because they're little doesn't mean that they give this up or that they don't like it. They're just small human beings, and you need
Mhm.
to take good care of them. And whatever you want them to learn to do, you have to give them the opportunity to do it. And, I trained a lot of leaders in my program. And the way I did it is not by telling them how to lead, but by letting them do it, letting them be the leaders of the program. And then after class, I would talk to them about what might have been a better strategy, what they can try
Mhm.
tomorrow, what was good,
Mhm.
what was bad, what did they like, what didn't they like. That's how you do it instead of doing it for them. And we need to get all parents on this page because we have a generation of depressed people and people who don't believe in themselves, people who are afraid to take a risk, people who are afraid to make friends, even. Can you believe that? It's really a
Yes,
sad
I can,
situation.
sadly. I can, and, and it it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It breaks my heart.
No,
Uh,
we need to help people believe in themselves, and the best way to do it is to start when they're young, little,
yes.
and then they believe in themselves, and maybe they are not the most obedient children, but actually you want children that are willing to talk back to you and express their ideas. You don't want them to be rude. You want to teach them respect. So you deserve respect just like they deserve respect. But that means that you definitely can have a conversation and talk
Mhm.
about it. And a lot of parents just don't do that.
So this concept of trick, you've actually turned into an app, um,
Yes.
that's on Apple and Android. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually incorporate AI into this app. Is that correct?
Yes. I incorporate AI into the app and it's actually programmed using my entire book, all my articles, all my talks, everything is programmed into the app. And you put in your child's name and your child's age, and then it gives you responsible answers to questions that you might be facing right then and there. And it costs $6.95 a month for as many kids as you have. So you can have
Wow.
one kid or 10 kids, and you can put all their
Cheaper than
names.
therapy, that's for sure.
It's much cheaper than anything that you could get anywhere, and it's important for parents to feel supported. It's important for kids to feel understood and respected. And I'll tell you, it worked with my daughters. I think they're prime examples of what it means to believe in yourself and to then also treat others with dignity and respect. And Susan was one of the most amazing leaders of YouTube. And if you see all the testaments to her that came unfortunately after she passed away last year, but it taught most people talked about what a great leader she was, how she made them feel good about themselves, how she helped propel
Mhm.
their careers. It's really important for people to realize how how critical it is for you to feel okay about yourself, good about yourself, and that you can take charge of your own life.
Susan is the main reason I chose YouTube to do my videos. It's kind of like an homage because I thought she was kick-ass. I mean, just kick-ass, and I mean that in a good way as well. So so now you're also advising the Edge, um,
Yes,
in doing SEL, socio-emotional learning.
learning.
How is that different from Trick? Or is it
It
incorporated into it?
trick is incorporated into edge.
Okay.
And so that basically no matter what programs in social emotional learning that you use, but I particularly love Edge, and I think it's an incredible program for kids. It helps them feel great about themselves. But what I was going to say is any social emotional program out there tends to use my philosophy trick because it's the key to feeling good about yourself.
Mhm.
And the first person you need to trust is yourself. You have to believe in yourself and you have to always, if you make a mistake, by the way, everyone makes mistakes, not just you, everyone. The first person you have to forgive is yourself. You cannot carry all these grudges against yourself. It's like, oh, I'm really stupid. I did this and I did that and I lost all this money and I whatever. You have to learn from your mistakes. That's what mistakes are. It's an opportunity for you to learn and not to get mad at yourself. And I know that
You know,
sounds difficult, but it's really important.
I think for a lot of people it is difficult. I know I went through a stage where I I thought anything that went wrong was my fault. Um, and it is a process to learn how to forgive yourself, but it's also quite freeing. You know, you just accept you get humbled in your own humanity
That
and realize this is this journey that we're on as human beings throughout our life is an opportunity to learn all the way until the day we die.
that's right. It's an opportunity to believe in yourself and to believe that you can actually make these things happen,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah.
And I feel really strongly about it. And all the people that I've worked with and all my students and friends, I see the positive impact of believing in yourself.
Well, one of the things that I see in you, is you have figured out, how to live out your passion, which is the teaching trick, um, for as long as you wanna do it, and I think for a lot of us, baby boomers and the generations behind us, we may be working well until after 65 for a myriad of reasons. I mean, I'm cresting into 70 this year. I don't wanna stop because I love what I'm doing, and, I'm constantly trying to figure out how to remain relevant when everything's rapidly changing. So, how did you remain relevant in all of this?
Well, my theory is that you should, as an adult over 60, can offer a lot to the world if you help people. So you can be
Mhm.
involved in many different help support areas. It can be from, volunteering at a school. It can be from, making videos. It can be, helping people cook. People have so many skills, but if you just sit there and do nothing and don't interact with other people, you're going to get depressed. And
Yes.
so I think it's really important, not just for you, but for the world. Older people have so much to offer, so many
Mhm.
experiences, so much support that they can offer as as long as they feel like they can offer something. And you just have to look at your experience in life. Everybody has something they can offer, and
I
it will make them feel better and make the people you're working with feel better.
I am such a proponent of volunteering and tutoring and mentoring. I do all of the above, and, I do it for a couple of reasons. Number 1, keeps me grounded. Number 2, I love forging those relationships with younger adults because just because they're amazing human beings, and it makes me happy because I know I've been of service,
That's
and
right. I
so
mean, you can
it
definitely do a service. You're doing a great service with these videos right now.
well, this is a passion project because something very, very special happened at ASU this year, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but I had the opportunity to meet, a cross generation of women that I watched helping each other, and in that moment, it was such a profound moment, I thought, "I have to tell these women's stories." And then I realized, I can't tell it as good as you guys. I mean, it's your story. And so, sometimes a good storyteller steps out of the way and just asks the questions and shuts up.
I think it's a great project. It's a great idea, and I think you're absolutely right. It's better to hear it from the person that has that interest or did something special than for you to tell about that person.
Mhm.
So, yes, I think it's really important. I'm
So
glad
now
you're doing.
well, thank you. And thank you for being part of this. this month interviewing all of you, it just it was a privilege. It was an absolute privilege. And I have nothing to say but thank you on that. Um, but here you are doing all of this consulting work. What are you gonna do next?
I'm writing another book.
Oh, did we just get a scoop?
I'm gonna do it together with about 20 of my former students, and they're gonna write about the long-term impact of a program like this on their lives.
Oh, what an amazing book.
Yeah. So
You
I'm
have a name
working.
for it yet?
No, not yet. I don't have a name yet, but I'm thinking about it, and I'll also take suggestions from my students and from everybody.
I have one for you. To be determined.
Yes, to be determined.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
That's pretty interesting.
yeah. So so I just really wanna thank you for doing this. I specifically waited to interview to have you be the last interview because, well, selfishly, I wanted to go out on a bang, I'll be honest. But you are such a role model for all of us in education, and we realize that the work is still going, it's changing rapidly, and they need all of us in there, no matter how big or small the role, but just keep involved and find something that you're passionate about and and share your knowledge.
That's right,
We all
and
we
everybody
all
has
have something to share,
that's correct.
even if it's, "Don't do it this way, it didn't work."
Seriously, we all have something to share, and that is so important that we contribute and continue to contribute to society. It makes a big difference to everybody, to you, to the younger people, to the
Mhm,
children, and
mhm.
you just have to believe in yourself that you can do it, and you will.
Well, I'm just waiting to see the monument at Palo Alto High School that they put up for you, and I mean, it's way overdue, but I'll contribute to that one personally myself. I just wanna thank you for taking your time and really espousing the need for skills. My startup was all about skills-based training for young adults as well, and, I'm a firm believer in it, and just thank you. Thank you for being the badass that you are.
Thank you. I
I
wanna
I
remind
said it
everybody
all
they can do it too. That's really important, and also to go online and find my parenting app, which is Parenting Trick. It's
Oh, that'll be an interesting one.
yeah, find it and then try it out, see how it is. Be really interesting. You can do it with teenagers too, works.
I've heard that. They may even listen, who knows?
That's right, you can say to them, "The app told me to do it this way." That's an authority.
You crack me up. You
Esther
crack me
said.
up. You crack me up. I thank you seems wholly inadequate, but I thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for being this amazing woman that you are, and thank you for, being my last video in this series. Um, I've come to realize I kinda like podcasting. I didn't think I would, but there are so many things that we can talk about in ed tech. I may have you come back because there's a couple of other subjects I wanna talk to you about. So
Oh,
I hope
please
you'll say
do.
yes again.
I'm sure I will.
Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, and, I bow. I just bow.
Well, thank you so much. It's
You
an
have a
honor
great
to be
rest of your day and just keep doing what you're doing, man. You were just rocking it.
here. Thank you. Thank you so much, and the best to all your listeners and
Oh,
viewers.
thank you. You have a great rest of your day, okay?
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.